same tier where it's like one or two songs. Power Man 5000. I like a couple of songs here or there. I'm not buying an album. I'll sing to it on the radio, but that's kind of it. Yeah. So bad. Hello, Internet.
We should all get Boston masks and then just podcast as Boston.
This show will be done.
I need to get a good clean just photo. Around the corner.
Yeah, I need to get a good clean photo of Boston's face so I can actually get a face mask and just have the bottom of his face on my face.
Just do it like Deadpool, man. Just print it out and instead of stapling it to your face, just tape it to your forehead.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's going to make for a great podcast.
Yeah.
All the rustling of paper that we hear.
Oh, man. All right, let me open up the chat stuff here, and then we will be ready to go.
You will be.
We all will be. All right, hello, Internet. All right. You guys ready?
Oh, yeah. Sure, why not?
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston Dream. As always, is Moonpier.
Hello.
And the Nimp.
Hello.
Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. Behind the scenes, early access, critical misses, we roguelike it, get all the good stuff, the exclusive uncensored outcast. It's all the outtakes you hear before we started recording this show, before we go live on the internet. This week's one is a banger. This is a real good one this week.
If you want to know why Moon and I are getting Boston masks here shortly, listen to the pre-show.
That's right. I swear to God, if you guys do that,
Happy Halloween.
It's the worst.
We got 3 weeks.
Patreon.com/E1M1. And don't forget our merchandise Sure. Just get right on the beach and you can pick up some shirts from us from cheap. The merchandise store on the right-hand side of the page. You can go buy Moonpier's new shirt and brighten up your life with a rainbow and an inspirational message.
Yep.
I think that's it. So, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Give me 1 second. I'm just writing down the title really quick.
Okay. Merchandise, sure.
Exactly.
Visit our shore.
Something I did forget to mention on pre-show, because I almost wrote the title in the wrong place, which is why it took me so long to do it, is this is what I've spent a lot of my my week doing, by the way. So I've only got 3 games to talk about, because it's deliberately zoomed out pretty far, but you will not be able to see it that well.
Oh, right. You're making the list.
It's that list.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it goes on and on and on.
That's why I didn't watch anything TV related, because I have 100 and some odd games on my list this week, and I needed to concentrate, and that's not even all of them yet, and I haven't even started paring down.
Yeah. Got my list to about a hot 25. Check in a month for a very special episode from us to sort of ring in the next generation. We'll have a special episode.
I feel like eating my shoes at this point. I genuinely do. It's like, why did I open my mouth?
I wrote in my notes, we can't have a 6-hour episode, LOL. But
maybe
we'll just break it up into a 2-parter.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, yes, actual games I played. I played a little bit of Apex Legends. Same old. Minor grind, just doing my business.
Yep.
Jumped on the other night. They got a special event going on at the moment where it's always be closing. The ring is always closing.
That's
and
fun.
there is no healing items, but there is like healing bubbles in little areas of the map that you have to go to get health and shields back.
Okay.
And I immediately got killed within about 3 seconds of landing.
Great.
Then a caustic main picked me up, revived the person we were with, and then promptly carried us to the championship. So
yeah,
I got 2 kills, he got 9, and the other person got 1.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I'm perfectly happy being carried to that
07.
championship victory. Yeah, 100% 07. And the scary thing is crossplay is enabled now, so it just has a little Xbox logo underneath everybody's, like, underneath our entire squad.
Oh, okay.
I still haven't seen anybody else, like, so I don't know if there's like a little PlayStation 4 logo
Right.
or what. So I'm looking forward to that madness. Also, Boston, I'm assuming you have it installed at this point.
That would be an incorrect assumption. This was not a great week for having time to play video games. So
I'm not asking you to play it. I'm asking you to install it so that then at some point we can figure out how this works.
Yourself.
Here's the thing I hate about Sony's library sharing thing is that if I go to the website and go to the store and say I want to download Apex Legends, it doesn't go to yeah, it downloads on my wife's PS4 because hers is set to the primary, so she can get my library. And then every time I'm in front of my PS4, I've had very little time to play anything in like larger chunks, which is the reason why I'm playing one game I'm playing this week. So every time I remember is like when I'm laying in bed at night and I was like, oh, I didn't download Apex. So yeah.
Fun fact about the Xbox. I do the same thing with my wife. Like, me and my wife share libraries, so anything I buy, she gets a copy. Anything she buys, I get a copy. A fun fact about that, when I do that, if I buy it from the console, I can just say download it, and it'll download it to my console. She'll automatically get it downloaded to hers, too.
Okay.
So she can choose to stop that installation and cancel it. If I do it on the phone, so if I use the Game Pass app or anything like that, it says, do you want to download this? And you say, yes. And it's like, okay, where do you want to download it? And then there's 4 Xboxes listed.
Nice. That's such a good interface, especially on the Game Pass app, where it's just like, all right, you can install it. Where do you want to install it? Like, which computer do you want to install it to? Which Xbox? It's really good. If Sony had ever spent any time upgrading the PS4 apps from when the PS4 launched 15 years ago, they might have
one app or their 9 apps, because
Dude,
they have a lot of apps.
don't even get me started. The only time they've updated that is to split it apart. It's just like, no, stop. I don't want the one.
The whole reason I took it off my phone to begin with was as soon as they started parsing everything out as individual apps. Like, I don't need this.
And none of them work. None of them ever work. I can't get them to load.
No. One of them works. The messaging works because I constantly get messages from like Madeline or Jessica, who is a hot young single in my area, desperate to get my attention.
LOL, check out my pics. Shady URL here.
Those have gotten worse all of a sudden too. I've gotten like 2 or 3 of those a week now.
I've gotten one of those a week from Letterboxd. Which is like, look, check out my profile, LOL. It's like, please. Come on. You're doing this on Letterboxd? Jeez.
You cast the widest net you can, and then you catch fewer and fewer people, but those people who click that link are stupid, and they deserve whatever comes to them.
I'm just here to read snarky reviews from the BMF cast peeps. I'm not here to find seagulls in my area.
Like, for me, it's like, it always tickles me because I always get PayPal warnings, like my PayPal account has been hacked in French. For a PayPal account that I can't use anymore, because PayPal is not one of those places that lets you just say, I've moved country, please move my location. You have to start a new account. So I closed my previous account. I have a new account with a different email address. I still get French emails from the previous email account warning me that my PayPal account is in trouble. It's like, okay, cool, whatever.
So good.
Yeah, sure. But yes, I've played a little bit of Apex Legends, a whole host of Hades, which, go check out our special, super duper special show called We Roguelike It over on patreon.com/E1M1, the ones and numbers, to get our feelings on that one.
The long and the short of it is, if you haven't paid attention to literally anyone playing Hades, you should play Hades. It is very good.
Well, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I played a smidgen, just a smidgen. Again, I'm bringing in my small measuring cups here to play Super Metroid. That's this month's Game Club game, which is hilarious playing that thing on the Switch, let me tell you.
I gotta start that. I know it's not super long. I still gotta start it.
It's not super long, but you could say the same thing about most Metroidvanias, and then it's like 50 hours later, and you're like,
It's true.
oh.
Oh, I missed half the map. Right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But other than that, we'll start with Deep Rock Galactic, aka my Zen game of 2020.
Right.
So I played this a little bit with the boys on Friday. We did a couple of dives together because that's what they're called, dives. Why not? You also have missions later when you get promoted called deep dives, where you get to do 3
Hey.
missions back to back to back. I'm almost level 17 with my gunner now, so he's about ready for promotion at some point soon, I imagine. I have unlocked all of his second weapons, so second machine gun, second handgun. This is legitimately a super cool Zen game for me. Even playing it by myself, take the difficulty down one, playing by myself. I have my stupid robot drone thing to help me, and I just
having fun.
Just have fun and pick the time away. No pun intended.
Oh God.
It's not harsh. It's not painful. At least not on the difficulty I'm playing it at. It's very much a go get these resources, fill these bars, make this thing better, make yourself better. Go get these resources, fill these next set of bars. It's a game full of filling bars, and then you go to the bar and then fill the bar so you can have a drink to go down and do a mine and fill more bars.
Yeah.
It's a quadruple entendre on so many different levels, and it's just been a really good switch my brain off kind of game where I can just not think about anything, not think about the 2020 year of our Dark Lord problems.
Yeah.
Just sit down, do some mining, shout at the robots, give Molly crap for not being right with me at all times. And then when I'm playing with the boys, it's the same. It's just like, okay, me and Rob have to basically have Jason and Justin, Double J, Jeff Jarrett in the middle of us so they don't get lost. So one of us has to lead the way, and one of us has to be at the back like a sheepdog, like heading them through the tunnels to make sure they get back to home base correctly.
Right.
It's just a really cool Zen kind of game where we don't have to think. There's no huge pressure, and you just listen to the music, which in some instances is really, really, really like Aliens. Like when you have to defend a specific point, it does the Aliens car scene, which I will say no more because somebody hasn't seen Aliens.
Yeah. What? Wait. What?
So I can't really say much more about that.
Right.
But it's just allowed me to stick in my headphones, listen to a podcast, catch up on the Banffcast, on the Beastcast, the Bombcast, and Mad Max Minute, which I'm listening to Beyond Thunderdome now. So, like, dude, the Movies by Minute podcast community, it might be the craziest podcast community I've ever listened to.
Yeah. That's
Because it
intense.
takes a special kind of perseverance to do a movie by minute podcast.
Yeah.
It's cool though, like especially like listening. They got one of the kids from Beyond Thunderdome who literally hasn't been seen online since like 2 years after the movie came out, and got him on the phone and just had a little quick chat with him about what it was like making the movie. It's like, okay, cool. You guys are weird, but that's cool.
Right. Powers are a little scary.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. You stick your headphone in, or you have a conversation with your wife and talk about how your days are going while you're sitting there gathering the slop, put the slop bucket in the thing, gather some more slop, put that stuff in the bucket. It's been a very mentally forgiving game in a very mentally unforgiving real life right now, which is exactly what I need.
I've been using a game that both Nip and I are playing as that, where it's like, all right, I'm gonna clock in, I'm just kind of tune out a little bit here, just gonna wander around.
Game is kind of dangerous because I've tuned out for hours on end.
Dude, we've done the same thing with Elite Dangerous though, and that's That's a really easy one to do that with.
That one's a mix between clocking out and falling asleep behind the throttle, and then realizing that you're way off course.
Yeah. Oh, what's that big bright light? Oh, it's the sun coming straight at me.
Yeah.
And the only other game I really played this week was Mortal Shell. I have defeated one dungeon, I think they're called. I'm in the process of my second dungeon, so second boss awaits.
You defeated your first Tool album?
Yes. I defeated my first Tool album. I have 2 more Tool albums to go. Hopefully they're the early ones when it's a bit more experimental.
You get your undertow out from under you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have all the shells now, so I already know which one I'm going to stick with. I'm going to go Johnny middle of the road with the average of everything, because although the guy who's got the huge stamina bar is impressive, he will probably die with 1 hit. So
he's no gunship.
Yes, exactly. I will go middle of the road the whole way. It's a good game so far. I mean, it's 0 directions, very much like Dark Souls games generally have.
Welcome to a Souls game.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games where I'm wandering around and I'm killing a whole bunch of things, doing the whole phrasing hardening trick.
Yes.
I found some secret syrup of the gods, and then I gave it to some dude in chains, and I got some unlock. And then I unlocked some dude who fogs and then defogs the world. It's almost like he's like a San Francisco resident, and he's just like, "Calm, my pretties," and then he sends the fog away whenever you want him to. But doing so lets you unlock chests and makes the monsters harder whenever it's foggy. In doing so, I accidentally unlocked an ending of the game.
Oh.
Nice. So you've already beaten the game.
Yep,
yeah,
all done.
Literally got credits. If you make it foggy, there's just a brigand sitting at the top of this hill. Normally they stand up and attack you whenever you get close, but he didn't, so I got closer, and then I got the talk to him prompt. I was like, okay, I'm just going to talk to him. He's like, oh, that's a cool rat on a stick you've got there. Can I have some of that? Because I'm very hungry right now. I was like, okay, cool. Here's some rat on a stick. That's fine. Well, that's some cool, cheap moonshine you've got there. Can I, have some of that? The whole time I was giving them these items, I'm thinking, you're going to kick me off this edge. I'm going to fall down a giant hole. And then someone's going to be at the bottom, going to stab me in the face. Because you're a Souls game, so that's what happens.
Yeah.
And then I had to give him like higher tier of moonshine because apparently he has discerning tastes. Oh, ambassador, you do spoil us with these fine moonshines.
Right.
That's a commercial reference from the England, so I doubt anybody will get that except anybody from England who's listening.
Yeah.
You should Google Ferrero Rocher advert from England. It's great. And then after I give him 2 sets of moonshine and rat on a stick, he was like, "You're cool, homie. You want to live the brigand life with me? Chill out, play some loot, have a good time?" I was like,
"Yeah,
sure, why not?"
Not doing anything else.
Point, my character literally sits down, pulls out his loot, which I have level 10 skill in now, so I play a pretty mean loot, if I do say so myself. And then starts playing and drinking, and then it goes through like this cut scene where it just pans over the area showing these different sets of monsters just standing there, like in the fog. The whole time, you just hear this loop music, and then it cuts to black, and then the credits roll. It's like, cool, I've literally got the achievement for living the life of a brigand, and I was like,
that's really good.
I'm fine with that. Technically, I have defeated Mortal Shell. I got credits. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But it's Mortal Shell. It's more of the Souls. It's more of that kind of game. And at the moment, when I'm not destroying Greek underworlds or shooting Metroids in the faces, like that's pretty much what I'm doing. Like, I want to try and get to the end of that because, oh boy knows, there's like 7 more games I need to hit before the end of this year.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Brings a tear to the eye.
Yeah.
It does. But that's pretty much all I've been playing, Mr. Nib.
Okay. So, my family and I played more Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch. And we got past, I don't even remember what we were stuck on last time, but I know that we got past it, and now we're stuck in a boss in the dark dimension or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to think that the game is harder when you're playing in co-op because
Like it's
my
scaling too much.
Yeah, like my kids and I, after we bounced off the boss, we tried it like 2 or 3 times. It's like, all right, we're getting nowhere. We can't do anything about this. We went and did their challenge dungeons, basically, where you can unlock items and costumes and new characters and stuff like that. Did a bunch of those, upgraded a couple things in our little Avenger table thing where everyone's got more HP and all this other crap. We did a 3-boss challenge. Got our butts handed to us, and at this point in time my son wanted to level up somebody else, my daughter wanted to play as somebody else. It's like, all right, you guys just pick whatever characters you want to do, just do the easier challenge dungeon stuff, that way we can just keep grinding out materials and things that we need. They did that for half an hour, and then my son went back into that 3-boss fight and completely wiped the floor with them by himself.
Oh, weird.
And it's not because he's that good.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't hurt that Deadpool's level 34 and he seems OP in this game for some reason. But so I'm thinking there's some scaling going on that I don't know about. I tried looking it up online and I can't find anything comprehensive that anyone's noticed. It's just a lot of people complaining that story mode is too hard and everyone's saying get good.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah. Never change, internet.
Really quick. Can I just jump in on that? Like, get good comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my wife bought the Mafia Definitive Edition like 2 months ago or whatever when it first came out, but they hadn't done Mafia 1 yet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
For anyone who has played Mafia 1, I'm about to give you PTSD and nightmares, so I apologize. The race car mission is still in it, where you have to win the race in that 1940s like Formula 1 car. And it still handles like a 1940s Formula 1 car. And it's still impossibly difficult to the point where my wife has tried to do it for like 3 hours now, trying to beat this race. And I did it for like 45 minutes and couldn't even touch like the top 6.
Jeez.
So we Googled it, and yeah, everybody hates this mission. And it's very much a case of get good or uninstall the game because this mission's too hard.
Make or break.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was something else. I don't even remember. There was something else that happened off the top of my head. I didn't write it down in my notes, and I don't remember now all of a sudden. But anyway, so we were just messing around with that, just doing some grinding, trying to get some characters. My son unlocked Electra for us, which was kind of funny because he comes in here and he's like, I unlocked someone, I don't know how to say their name. I think her name is Electa. It's like, is she red?
You get to unlock it.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, she's red. He's like, that's Electra. You're fine.
Right.
But,
super close.
Yeah. So that's it for that right now. We'll keep hammering away at it. And I'm going to test out the boss by myself and see if I can take out the one that we're stuck on, just so that I can see if that's what's going on. Because if it is, that's really crappy.
Yeah.
I mean, for 4 adults playing the game, it's probably fine, but for one adult, one 10-year-old, and one 7-year-old,
right. So, it just needs like an I'm playing with my kids mode where it's like, oh, right, okay.
That's what story mode should be.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The camera in this thing still sucks. Oh my god.
Yeah, you guys have fought with that the whole time.
Yeah. We redid the bullseye boss fight that was towards the beginning of the game. Half that fight, we couldn't even see the boss because the camera was too tight, and it was like bullseye would be at the bottom of the screen. One of us would be up at the top of the screen. So the camera's looking at the middle of the field where nobody is at. And it's like, this isn't helping anybody. Either zoom out or focus on the boss. Whatever.
Jeez.
Anyway, it's still a fun game to play.
Yeah.
It just has issues.
Yeah.
Next thing that I played, No Man's Sky. Let's talk about games with issues, huh?
Yeah.
Haven't had any other issues so far with it.
Yes.
They actually released another patch this week. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, like a huge bug fix patch.
Yeah, so I haven't had any other issues really. what I was primarily doing this time around was I was finishing up the Atlas mission.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I had already finished up the Artemis mission. I decided to do the Atlas, burned through all of that, got to the end, created my star. I now have like this star seed in my inventory that gives me extra health or something.
Okay.
And then I had to go through a black hole, and then it resets your game. Well, quote unquote, resets your game.
Right.
It doesn't actually reset your game. It just sends you to a new galaxy for you to explore, which you can still teleport back to any portals that you've gone through.
Oh, good.
So I went back to my main base and then, was trying to figure out how to get to the center of the galaxy. Because I know at one point going through a couple different black holes, I hit a space station that was fairly close. But the problem is that when you're looking at the screen for portals that you've gone through, it doesn't give you a whole lot of information to go off of.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to have to make another Excel sheet and systematically go through all of my spaceports to figure out which one is the closest to the center of the galaxy so I can do that and finally beat this game.
Right.
Yeah, Excel sheets.
I know, I've got 5 of these stupid things up already.
It should be.
But the other thing that I was noticing that with portals, it's kind of hard to discern the information it's giving you for the portals, especially when you're looking for a specific star type. Because those of you who play space games, you know that your stars are categorized by certain types. O, B, E, so on and so forth.
Give me a good K star any day of the week.
Yeah. I was looking specifically for a blue star because I needed, what was it, iridium, I think it was, which is only found in systems with blue stars.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pare down this story because this was a 3-hour thing that I had to figure out. So for you to be able to warp into a blue star, you have to have a certain engine modification that allows you to get into a blue star system or any colored star system that isn't yellow. Yeah, exactly. So I figured that out. Then I had to hunt it down and find it. Then I installed it. Then I had to find a blue star, which was a massive pain. You can see them on the map, but trying to move your indicator over.
Trying to pick a star on a 3D map where you don't have a mouse sucks.
Yeah.
Everyone thought you don't have to tell that to us when we play Elite Dangerous because that used to be trash.
Dude, Elite Map version 1, 100 times better than this map in No
Man's Sky. It's that bad?
Yeah. But anyway, so I finally get everything ready. I finally find a blue star. I finally get to the blue star. I find a planet that has the thing that I need. I get my thing, and then I can finish out the Atlas mission. And like I said, completed all that. Now I'm just working on the center of the galaxy stuff. I attempted to find a couple worlds that had low amounts of life on them, and I got nothing, man. I am still finding planets that are like 20 plus, 30 plus of everything. It's like, nah, screw this. I don't care that much.
You need to get like that one lucky moon where it's just like, there's one on here.
I will probably never get the platinum for that.
That's right, man. We only have one moon on the show.
But the rest of the game's fun. I've pretty much maxed out everything else. I started messing with the frigate stuff again a little bit more because I had one. I just never did a whole lot. And I've got 2 ships that just came back yesterday that I need to check out and figure out if they got blown up or not.
Yeah, the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, send these ships out to do their thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, the game's still going. It's still fun. I'm still enjoying it. It hasn't broken on me. It's all the better. My final game this week, which Boston and I will be talking about, is Genshin Impact.
Yeah, this is my zone out game where it's like, here's this giant open world. Look at all these treasure chests. I'm just gonna explore.
This is the thing that I pretty much played all week. And I'm at Adventure Rank 28. I think I need 600 more points or whatever to make 29, and then I can finish or restart the story missions that I'm stuck on because I have to be 29 to do them.
Yeah, I just hit 24.
Yeah. Oh my god, there's so much stuff to do in this game.
This game's really impressive because I feel like in so many gacha games, a reminder, as I've seen a lot of people, not in our community, but out on the internet, gacha is not Gotcha, like, haha, gotcha. It's
No, it's
Gacha. Gacha. It's short for gachapon. It's the onomatopoeia
That's
for
the
when
Japanese name.
yeah, it's a onomatopoeia for when a pachinko ball lands. That makes that noise. So gotcha just means it's this type of like rolling on banners game. Most of these gacha games are just like a funnel to get you to spend money on the banners. And I think Genshin Impact, it like has all of these systems, but at the end of the day, it's sort of like, they call it wishing. You can do wishes, whatever. I don't really care. You do what you want. Who cares? And they've already detailed like their next, I put it in the Discord server, they already detailed their next couple patches where it's like, and every 5 weeks we're going to come out with a whole new region in the game. Just like, oh, okay, that's fantastic. And like, oh yeah, and the patches are free.
Yeah, aka we are making gangbusters.
They made $100 million in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, doing pretty okay.
I saw this on Twitter. I have to ask because I don't know, because this is not a game I'm interested in, nor will I play it.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same game that mutes Hong Kong when in chat?
Yes. And it sucks because they're a Chinese company, so like they have to because that's the law. Like it's really frustrating because it does suck, and I think it's a big deal. But like, there's nothing the developers can do. Like it's up to you whether or not you support that decision. But it sucks. I don't. Not to be dismissive of it, but yeah. And Moon, I think you should play it.
Probably one of the few times that they literally had a gun pointed to their head saying, "You will do this."
Right. Yeah. Don't forget about this law. Wink.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moon, I feel like you should play this because if you enjoyed Breath of the Wild and you are frustrated at weapon breaking, which sucks, this is Breath of the Wild without weapon breaking.
Oh, I've heard a lot about this game. Like, I've heard a lot of great things about this game. Obviously, the one negative thing is the thing I just mentioned.
Yeah.
I can't, dude. I can't get into that kind of game right now, especially if it's only on PC, when right now I'm using my PC to play other games.
Sure.
So play it on your PS4 or your phone.
I can't recommend playing it on PS4 because there's no cross save. It's only between PC and phone.
Mobile.
If you care about cross save.
Yeah,
I don't.
I sort of wish it was there just to be like, just to occasionally run it on. I'm sure it'll be fine on PS5, but like, it'd be nice to be able to run it at higher frame rates and faster load and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I don't really care because most of my time is just like, oh, all right, there's daily missions, bang those out real quick. If not, whatever. Like, I'm just mostly just exploring and collecting stuff.
I had to kick. Like, I barely get any time to use my PC as it is. Like, I had to kick my son off from doing his homework on my computer and told him to use his notebook. Because, you know, everything loads faster on your computer. It's like, yeah, because it's not a thin client. That's why.
Right. It's not a Chromebook.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do that you don't have to put money into this. And I know that we've been saying a lot, but that's just a point that I want everyone to make sure that they are aware of, that yes, you can spend money, but you really do not. I would say it's almost along the lines of Warframe.
Yeah.
Where you could absolutely spend money in this game, but you really don't have to.
Well, the end of the tutorial, they give you a full team of people, like a full 4-star team of people across all the elements. So like, you have all the stuff you need, and you can get all their like leveling materials and uncapping their levels just by playing. So it's just, you literally don't need to spend anything. It's really great.
So the big thing that I'm going to talk about right now is the world level system.
Yeah, the Division 2's world level system.
Yeah, because I've pretty much shot myself in the foot
Mhm.
with that, not realizing it. So what's happening with that is eventually you will get to a point, you are probably really close if you haven't seen it already, where the game will tell you, hey, you should bump up your world level to 2.
Okay.
And it will give you, I don't remember where it pops up, but it basically gives you like a list of things to do, and it says once you've completed these things, your world level will go up.
Okay.
So I did it way back when because I didn't feel that World 1 was that challenging at all for
No,
my
'cause
characters.
like the change between level 0 and 1 I think is really interesting because like when you're at the beginning world level, you're fighting like slimes and plants and stuff like that, like real early JRPG stuff. And the levels scale per region. So like if you're
Yep.
back at the early area, you're like level 25, 30, 40. You're fighting level 8 slimes. Like you're just looking at them and they explode. So moving up to world level 1 is a pretty easy choice. And I thought the thing that was interesting with that is it's not just the enemies get harder, more types of enemies show up. So like I'm wandering through the mountains of the first area, and this like elemental wizard comes up with like a giant buckler that's made out of wind, and his friend has like icy punching fists. And I was just like, oh Jesus, okay, like cool. They're actually different new types of enemies not now, and that's not just like here's a level 32 blue slime. So I thought that was cool.
And every time you level up the world, the newer enemies will drop the newer items that you need for leveling up your characters and weapons and ascending and all
okay.
that stuff.
Gotcha.
So that was why I moved over to world level 2.
Got to get those blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the world, when you're out in the world, the game's not that much harder at all.
No.
The levels are increased, but you still have room to maneuver. I realized as soon as I did it that I wasn't doing as much damage, but nothing was really an issue.
Yeah.
Where I've run into issues are challenges that are timed, where you've got 20 seconds to take out these 3 enemies.
Yeah.
That's not happening anymore.
Or like there can't be more than 25 seconds between each enemy kill. Those ones are tough.
A lot of the challenges that the domains that you would be doing for grinding up material, those have gotten a lot harder because a lot of those have time limits on them.
Yeah.
Where if you kill an enemy, it increases the time by like 5 seconds, but you're supposed to kill like 23 enemies within like 20 seconds. That's not happening anymore.
Right.
The mission that I was specifically talking with you, Boston, the underground one that you're supposed to be protecting that post, I can't get past the second wave of that. As soon as 3 of those golems drop, I'm just SOL. I can't do anything about it.
It's so funny because there are these like Miyazaki robots all over the place. And like this mission says like protect this like post in the middle of this underground area.
Small underground area.
Yeah, and you have to kill 5 enemies. It's like 5 enemies, no big deal. So it brings out one of these robots, you take it down. It has a ton of health, but it like really clearly telegraphs its attacks. So I was like, I took down 1, no big deal. Next wave spawns 3 of them at the same time. It's like, that's sort of a big deal. And I failed the first time because they do like this spinning windmill attack that goes on forever. 2 of them were just spinning on top of that post. I just watched the percentage go down. Like every half second it was going down a percentage point. It's like, this is not going to turn out well for me.
So that's my biggest problem is trying to draw all 3 of them at the same time because they place it so that, there's one to the left, one to the right, and one in front of it. And so you have to draw all 3 of these things away from it so that they're focused on you. But the problem is if you get slightly too far away from one of them, they lose interest and go back to the post.
And like the main
thing, forever to get their attention again. And
the main thing you're protecting is dropping rocks down, which seems like it would be a really big help until they start hitting you as well. So it's a weird mission.
Yeah, and it's not like they're hitting me hard. It's just I can't take them out fast enough.
Yeah.
And they're hitting that post like super hard. So if I can't keep all three of them away from this thing, all of a sudden its health is just dropping way down.
Yeah.
And I've been busting out all these dumb combos. I've been drawing them out in the water, so I get like the superconductor or vaporizer or whatever, the different combos that you can pull off, which I'm doing now. I can do like 400 damage, which is like the smallest tick of health ever on these things.
Right.
It's just not great.
Yeah.
But besides that mission and the timed challenged missions, everything else is going pretty all right. I started doing the ascent. I forget what it's called now, but there's one of the islands to the west. I can't remember if it's Midwest or Southwest, where you do these challenges where you descend down these floors.
Oh, I started doing that too, where it's like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. Now you're done. Yeah, it's the
Spiral Abyss or something.
Spiral Abyss. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's cool. It's funny because like really early on, it's like you see it all the way off in the distance. You're like, what's this island like out in the middle of nowhere, and you can't make it there. And eventually, you just see this giant void in the sky. And it's like, well, I should probably go in there.
Direction towards that island.
Yeah, it's like I should probably go in this like black hole, and it turns out it is a black hole to this island that has the Spiral Abyss on it.
Yeah. So that's pretty fun. Those challenges haven't been too difficult. I got up to 2-3 before I ran out of time on one of them.
Okay. I just beat 3-3 this morning.
Okay.
And what I like about those is in between each individual floor, it'll give you the choice of 3 cards, where it's like, oh, your defense will go down by 40%, but your attack will go up by 85%, or you get like 100% extra damage for 2 seconds after you dash. Like there's a bunch of cool, like almost roguelike modifiers on the mode. It turns out like it's really pretty fun.
Yeah. My issue was, once again, my level just wasn't high enough, so that's why I got stuck on 2-3. Because
what level are you right now?
My main character is level 50, and everyone else is around 40.
Okay.
And my weapons, I've got 2 of my 4 stars at 40, and everyone else is at 20 or higher.
That's about where I am right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've had to mess around, like artifacts for all your characters. I had to bump all those up, which I was in the process of doing anyway, but it's basically, I just pushed myself way back and made it harder than it needed to be without realizing it, which sucks. But because it feels like World 2 was meant for your characters to already be around like level 45, 50 with okay gear. Not, super god tier, stuff, but it feels like I should have been progressing a little further than I already was.
Sure.
To be able to get
like
into
you
World
just pulled
2
the trigger too early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no way to know that because they don't say, hey, you should be around this level or something like that.
Right. Or like, oh, maybe you should level up your artifacts a little first or something. Yeah.
Which I think for them, because they do have so many, there's like 3 different things that you need to be leveling up. So it's kind of hard for them to kind of place, oh, your artifact should be this general range.
Yeah.
Your character level. Yeah.
Totally.
A lot of crap going on, which I'm sure if somebody wanted to, they could have figured it out. But
sure, and there's, unlike a lot of these games, there's no like item level or power level or anything, like you see in a lot of RPGs, where it's like, oh, here's the general like average of all your power. I don't have a
party level or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like World of Warcraft has like your item level, where it's like, here's the average of all your items. This activity is a item level 1000, you're 850. Now you know how far you need to get to bridge that gap. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, so I've just been doing a lot of exploring. I found 2 ships that you can get to that look like they're too far away, and they might be if your stamina isn't high enough, but sure. I almost died getting to one. Like I was halfway climbing up it, and I had like the thinnest bar of stamina, and I was like, that looks close enough that I can jump, and I was lucky enough that it was, because as soon as I did that jump, I was out of stamina.
Are you exploring the second area, the like ancient China area?
Yep.
I really wish they had done some of the stuff that the second area does in the first area to like show people some of the cool stuff, because the second area is so much more vertical than the first one is, in such a cool way. Like my kid, when we were playing the other day, because my kid loves watching it, she pointed and said, like, hey, why don't you go to the top of that mountain? It's like, yeah, sure, okay, why not? Like, whatever, I'm just exploring. Like, that sounds like a fun idea. So I get to the top of the mountain, and there's like this fox statue you can rotate, and I spun it a couple times, and a cutscene played, and the game was very much like, I wonder what would happen if you go to the top of that mountain where the light shines. And it's like, all right, now we got a mission. Let's go.
Some Indiana Jones stuff where a light's off on a distant mountain. It's like, all right, something's happening now.
Yeah, and like, so we spent like the next hour climbing up there, and then the game shows like these little sparkles off in the distance on two other mountains, and like, I wonder what would happen if all three shone light on this one. I was like, well, now I have to do it. Like, you keep doing this for me. So we spent the whole time doing that, and it dropped like this super powerful exotic rarity cooking recipe, which is like, that's fine, but at least I had fun, like, gliding between mountains and climbing up this stuff and fighting bosses and stuff. Like, Genshin Impact is really what I wanted Breath of the Wild to be. Breath of the Wild is a good, not game of the generation game, personally. Part of what I love about Genshin Impact is Breath of the Wild was focused a lot on find these shrines, do the mini challenges in it. There's 150 or however many there were. What I like better about Genshin Impact is that all of that stuff is just in the world. Like, you're finding dungeons, and those are fine, but like, here's a treasure chest, and it is locked, so you gotta do a puzzle around you, or, find those little spirits that you follow back to their little thing, and there's 3 of them around it, so do all of those, or do a small puzzle. Or one of my favorite ones is one of the elements you're collecting out in the world. Sometimes it'll just be like, hey, here's one that's like hundreds of feet up in the air. How are you going to get it? It's like, okay,
there's
cool.
nothing around to climb and jump off of.
Yeah, and there's nothing around. It's like, oh, there's these butterflies over here. If I pick up 3 of them, it makes a whirlwind, and I can ride that. That shoots me all the way up there to pick it. It's like, there's this constant natural discovery out in the world that you typically don't get in a lot of open world games, and that's why I'm just spending so much time just farting around in the world, because I can say, I haven't really explored this area. I'm going to teleport over there and just head in a line. I'm just going to go northwest and just see what I get into. And then like 45 minutes later, I was like, how am I down in like the southeast, like the Earth area? Like, how did I even get down here? I found a bunch of cool stuff on the way. Like, that's the stuff I really, really like about it. And if I don't play it for too much longer, that's fine, because I feel like I've had just a bunch of fun exploring the game.
Yeah. With that mountain region, that recipe that you found,
Mm-hmm.
was that at the very top of a stone platform?
Like, I pointed the 3 statues at the mountain, and then like a bunch of evil looking stones spawned, and I had to do like this jumping puzzle up and like ride wind all the way up, and it was pretty. There was a bunch of treasure chests up there, which is, and all the treasure chests have cool names where it's like precious chest, exquisite chest, like flawless chest. Like, they're just, I love this game.
That point of view, when you get to the very top of that, is really awesome, because it's, as far as I know, the highest point in the world.
I think so, yeah.
And you can see everything, assuming it's not cloudy, because you're up above the clouds.
Yeah, it was one of those cool moments where it's like, yeah, you kind of just let me find this, and nobody in town is just like, I wonder if you climb on this mountain, what happens? Game's just like, hey man, you're gonna find it or not, whatever.
It also had one of those really cool things that I did in Spider-Man all the time, where I just jumped off of it just to see how long it would take to fall to the bottom.
Yep.
It's about 7 seconds.
Yeah, it was a real long time. It was great. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing with Genshin Impact. I've just been screwing around, exploring. I have all the waypoints unlocked on both maps that I have unlocked so far.
Yeah, I haven't done I've lit up the whole map on the Earth area, but I haven't gotten all of them all the other stuff.
Did you notice that your main character, when you switch over to the Geo element, that they have a whole different constellation for you to level up?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. Which,
A lot of people didn't notice that, and they were wondering why they didn't have their ultimate ability when they switched over.
yeah, I largely haven't been using Geo because I don't like the R2 attack as much as the wind one. I like the
Mhm.
wind one where you can like push a whole field of enemies back. Yeah, this
It's a
game's
lot of
great.
stuff.
Yeah, this game's really good. I really, and I don't play very much of it every day, but I like logging in and just kind of like exploring for an hour or so, and then being like, all right, moving on. My kid's bored, so like now she's bugging me, so let's go do something else.
Yeah, I play a lot of it, and I really like it. And I always, when I'm talking about this game, I always feel like I have to have the asterisk up because right now it's really great.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens with the next update if they change anything.
yeah. You always
That's
have to.
always the worry.
Yeah, because even for me, like it's a top 10 candidate for this year. But don't find me in 5 years and be like, yeah, but Genshin Impact now is this gotcha. It's just like, yeah, I know, man. But in 2020, it was really
Yeah.
good.
And I've seen a lot of people talk about how the pull rates aren't great. I don't
They're
know.
bad.
I haven't been able, like, I haven't looked too hard, but I haven't been able to find them when I kind of did.
Oh, when you look
So
at a
I've just seen
banner, you
Uh-huh.
hit the details button. It's like left on the D-pad or something. It'll open up a web page, and it'll
Oh,
have
that's
all
why I
the...
haven't looked at that one because it
Yeah.
tries to pull up a web page. I close
Yeah,
it
it-
immediately.
Yeah, it pulls up the webpage for like what units you can pull from the banner and what the pull rates are. Pull rates are really bad, but there's bad luck protection built in, so I think like your 10th pull, no matter what, gets you a 4-star. So it's a little bit better, but like we talked about before, it sort of doesn't matter because like they gave you a
Yeah.
whole bunch of units anyway. So it's not like, God, if I could only pull a 4th unit so I could have 4 characters, it's like, no, you got. I think I've got 12 characters right now, and I'm just like, I'm not spending any money.
Yeah, and
So-
it seems like they're planning on keeping, at this point right now, all the characters that are in the game will always be in rotation. They're not pulling
Yeah.
characters out. So
It seems
if you
like it,
don't
yeah.
get who you're looking for right now, you can just keep pulling with in-game currency when you get it, and eventually, maybe you'll get it. Unless you have
Yeah.
my RNG luck and you just don't get jack.
Right. Optimus Servo in chat says I pulled a character off a single pull before, so there's still a chance. Yeah, and I think that's where that bad luck protection comes in. Like, even if you're not doing a 10 pull, your 10th single pull, I think, will still get you something good.
I always do the 10 pulls because I'm impatient.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
funny
like,
because I'm patient enough to build up the in-game currency to do the 10 pull, but I'm not patient enough to do the single individual pull.
right.
But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Having a lot of fun with Genshin Impact.
I picked up Mike Bithel's new game this week, the Solitaire Conspiracy. You might remember him as the guy who made Thomas Was Alone, among a bunch of other stuff. Or Bissell? Whatever his name is. This is Spy Solitaire, essentially. The thing I did not know was that the main character of this game is Greg Miller, who I am not a fan of. But thankfully he isn't the Greg Miller character. He seems like a normal dude, so that largely has been okay, and he introduces the first couple of missions, and he's very much like the video game narrator about like, our organization is in trouble and only you can clear level 24 to get us to do this thing. You know, it's very much like a Metal Gear Solid thing where it's wink and nod, where Snake is saying like, so I just need to hit the triangle button. You know, it's one of those things. It's a really cool game because it's not your traditional Solitaire. You have the 4 slots where the aces go in the middle, and then the cards sort of fan out from the middle to the left and right, and all of the cards are face up, so you can see the entire field. And the rules are the same. You start with an ace, 2, 3, 4, etc. But the real puzzle of it from that point is, how do you shift all these cards around in these different pools of cards to get them to where you need to go in the middle. And on top of that, each set of cards, the Jack, King, and Queen have powers. So it'll be stuff like you toss this card down, and then it takes the next card and automatically shoves that onto the what do you call where the cards go? What is that part of the field?
The
even
discard
called?
pile.
No, it's
The deck,
the
graveyard.
no, it's the goal. I don't even know. I don't have my solitaire terms. But essentially, like if you have an ace and a 2 on the pile, it will find the 3 from somewhere in the field and toss it on there, so your next card will be
up
formed.
top.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the weird part about it is this is in the middle. There's a type of solitaire. It's called like something in alleys, I think is the type of solitaire this is.
Let me tell you about my time with Solitary in Windows 95.
Yeah, and I think if you liked that and you wanted your cards to have powers at the same time and look super cool, I mean, this game, I think I've cleared about 7 stages so far. I think he's calling it a short or a single or something. It's a series of games he puts out that aren't super long. This game was only $10, so it's not like 40-hour JRPG or anything. But so far it seems pretty solid for what it's trying to do. Music is great. Jen Pattinson does art. I'm a big fan of her stuff. I follow her on Twitter, and it seems like it's just a super well done game so far. And Solitaire is great. So more Solitaire is fantastic. And last game I have this week is Fall Guys Season 2. Started this week. I was ready to fire that thing up and spend $10 on a season pass, and it's free, which is great. So another 40 levels. They've increased the number of crowns you get from the season pass by 600%. So if you need crowns to buy some of the cool costumes and you're not great at winning like me, now you can get a whole bunch more crowns. Sadly, they haven't removed any games, which I was sort of expecting them to. The bonus is they've added 4 more ones. Wall Guys is probably one of the most salty, rage-inducing things I've played in a video game in a really long time. That's the one where you're working together and against people, and you're pushing boxes up towards these walls to try and make stairs to get out. It is... Oh, the rage. They made a new egg scramble, but they figured out how to not make it trash, which is really great. Essentially, you're throwing eggs into a castle now, and the hole where you're throwing them in is way deeper, and it's way harder for people that are stealing your eggs to get out of there. So it's a lot more interesting, a lot more fun. There's Hoopsie Legends, I think it's called. It's Hoopsie Daisy, but it's solo this time. So you qualify if you jump through 6 rings yourself, and everybody's trying to compete to get through 6 rings. And then the last one is Night Rush or something like that, and it's a pure gauntlet. It's just a run from point A to point B before everyone else does. There's a ton of others.
Pitch black screen, and the only thing you can see of the course is the flashlight your little bin is holding on to.
That'd be great. There's a ton of other improvements they did. Like they did a huge graphical overhaul. It runs 60 frames on a non PS4 Pro now. A lot of the game just looks way better and seems to run a lot smoother. The cool thing they did is now there's 2 game modes. The traditional one is called like main show, and that's just here are all the games. You can't have back-to-back team games. The algorithm is still really the same. Then there's a rotating game type. The first one is sticking around for just a week, and it's gauntlets only. So there are no team games. There are no anything. It is just you against the other jelly beans, point A to point B, all game modes, and then there'll be the finishing episode like normal, so it'll be Hexagon or Fall Mountain or stuff like that. That one has been a lot of fun because you don't get egg scramble, you don't get rock and roll, you don't get any of the team games. It's you against the world, and that has been, it's been kind of a breath of fresh air, and I'm interested to see what they do with that going forward, because I think that's another good way of keeping things fresh, which is if you want all of the games, here's this mode. If you want, I don't know, only slime-based games, here's this other playlist, and it changes every so often. So I think that's going to be pretty good, but it's more Fall Guys. It's still fun. There's still this season's theme for skins is like knights and wizards and dragons and ogres and stuff. It's all fantasy themed. And it's still Fall Guys. And Fall Guys
Here
is still
you get
great.
a unicorn skin right off the bat.
That is incorrect. You can purchase that from the store if you like.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah, that's one of there's like two like purchasable packs. One is the like Slurpee and hamburger and fries. That's the one I bought, and the other one is like unicorn fairy something or other.
I guess. I don't know. My daughter kept telling me I needed to get the unicorn. So
yeah, I don't. Unless I missed something, I don't seem to have.
I don't know. I haven't even logged back in yet. So.
Yeah, but so far it seems like they have taken Fall Guys and just put more stuff in there, which I'm kind of okay with them not removing the old games, because now there's just a larger pool of games to pick from. And the Season 2 launch trailer says there's more games coming this season, which is great. So, the more games you put in there, the easier it is to keep playing, and the more interesting it is to get to max season pass rank, because there's more variety there. So, Fall Guys is still great. And Season 2 seems great so far. That's all I've been playing. So let's take a break.
Open a window.
It's hotter in here than I thought today.
Yep, we're back.
Already.
I think it's cooler outside. I don't know.
At least it's not hotter. Not one of those days where you open the window and you're like, oh, God.
We're in that weird in-between period where it's like, I don't know, maybe it's 40 outside, maybe it's 80. I don't know. I haven't been outside yet.
All right, let's... We should be getting Bravely Default 2 news soon, which is exciting.
Yes. I am hesitantly looking forward to that.
Yeah, I really didn't like Bravely Second. And I finished the first Bravely Default, like I got the actual true ending, which was a Crucible, and I didn't finish the second one, which should tell everyone what they need to know.
I am right there with you. From what I've read, I've gotten a lot further than most people, but I don't know what it was, but it just was not clicking.
No, it was fine, but I hope they capture the first game's magic in Bravely Default 2, because if they do, and it's on the Switch, like, I'm going to play a lot of that game.
I just remember when that one character says out loud, I am with the Ballbusters, and I had never said, what the fuck are you talking about so loud at a game before?
So good. Oh, it's so good. And I think one of my frustrations in the second one, too, is I really liked the cast in the first one, and the second game is like, you don't play as any of them. It's like, oh, well, that's kind of a bummer. This lady says "murger" when she gets upset, and that never gets old. Like, that's, you throw all those people out. Yeah. Man, the ending of that first one, the true ending of that first one was really good, and
that whole game, as much as everyone hated some of the repeating that happens in that game, I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked how
when it all started clicking together, and it's like, oh, that's why. Oh, that's what the fuck's going on.
You're like, oh no. Well, and some of my favorite stuff too is like when you started repeating it, some of the bosses started figuring it out, and they're like, all right, you're back here again. I'm gonna say my line, blah 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 blah, and you're gonna fight me, and I'm gonna lose again. It's just like, yeah man.
And the whole thing with the title screen change.
It's
like, oh my god.
Which by the way, I'm waiting for Genshin Impact to do. I'm waiting for Paimon to be evil.
I am too. I
don't think it'll happen, but
I don't either. I've purposely not been looking up as much as I can online.
Oh,
like
yeah, me
I've only
either.
used online once for that one quest where you had to do the
the Jade
to find
tablets
the
or whatever.
jade. Yeah,
Stupid
just because
quest.
I started that quest hours ago and then hours later completely forgot what I was supposed to be looking for, and there were nothing on the map to help me. But
I would have
besides
never
that,
figured
I
out.
haven't been looking at Jack.
No, because
But
like
I have suspicions.
all the gacha community does is like, all right, here are the steps on how to re-roll your game time and time again until you get this one particular unit, and if you don't get it, God help your soul, you'll never succeed in this game ever. And it's like, the intro to this game is like an hour and a half long. I'm not gonna do that. And also it just kind of keeps dumping units on you, so... And also, I don't care.
I've seen people where they're on Reddit, just because I go on Reddit every once in a while, and there's like all these posts about people talking about, oh, you need, this is what I got in my 9 times re-rolling. It's like, why?
Right.
Just play
like,
the game.
You spent like a week re-rolling the game and not playing it. Like,
yeah. Whatever. I guess to each their own.
I'm just having so much fun like dicking around in the game where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna explore this area, why not?
Well, and the whole thing with it, from what I've been seeing, like your god tier characters or whatever, they're not doing like massive. It's not like I'm going from doing 400 points of damage to 9,999 points. It's just they have slightly better stats, so it doesn't really matter.
Or they have like different stats where it's like this one is a melee character, this one's ranged, this one's support, this one's healing, like, but they're not massively different.
Yeah, it's like the only reason I want to do the polls for characters is just because I want to see the characters that they have.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I think the art design that they've done for the characters is pretty cool.
Or I want to get the duplicates to, like, upgrade the constellations for each character.
It's like I'm not feeling that I'm missing out by not dumping $150 into this game. So
Yeah.
I will say that I'm really annoyed that everyone is getting the one woman that you guys have with the big sword.
Yeah, it starts with a B or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't know that she was in this game until everyone in the community started posting pictures of her. It's like, well, now I kind of want her.
Right. Look at this big sword she has. Yeah, she's cool. But, like, she's no stronger than your main character. Like, that's the great part about it.
Like, I'm still using, obviously, the Traveler that you get. I'm still using Amber. I'm using Barbara because
me too.
She does a lot of healing, and Nuelle, the maid.
Yeah, yep.
Which I've unlocked enough of her constellation that when she does her R2 attack, she starts healing the party too.
Oh, dope. I didn't know she could do
that. So I don't know if it's as much as Barbara does. But I mean, most of the characters that I've been drawing, I just put on expeditions so that they can get me items.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, go fetch me things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just look really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Character designs are real good in that game.
They need more purple-haired people.
Yeah. I mean, that'll come at some point.
Spoken like a true metalhead.
That's right. Anime metalhead, thank you.
Yeah, I need that waifu love, man.
That's right. All right, you guys ready to do the second half of this thing?
Yep.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of October 12th, 2020. Robotics Notes Dash and Robotics Notes Elite comes out on PC, Switch, and PS4. If you couldn't tell by the weird punctuation here, this is by the same team that did Chaos Child and Steins Gate. So this is the Science Adventure team's new games. New to us. Let's just say we're getting all the stuff. It's like Utaware Ramono, where it's like, yeah, Japan's had it for like 20 years, and now we're getting it in 2020. Just getting all the good stuff out here. So,
what was that old NBC tagline? If you haven't seen it, it's new to you, or whatever.
Yes, it's very much like it's new to me. So, Robotics Notes. Let's play it up. Torchlight 3 comes out PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Apparently a Switch version is still coming, but I think that's coming early next year. So Torchlight 3 looks like more of that, which loved that first one and didn't play much of the second one for some reason. I feel like I don't remember why. I feel like it was very much what Nip and I were just talking about with Bravely Second, where it's just like, yeah, it's more of the same, and I kind of don't like it. So weird. I've heard Torchlight 3 is
doesn't mean
pretty
it's
good.
a bad game necessarily.
Yeah.
It just maybe at the time it didn't click right or something. I don't even remember.
Yeah. Cook Serve Delicious 3 is out on PC, Switch, and Xbox One. This is coming out of early access, so if you want to drive a food truck in a post-apocalyptic world as two robots and serve burgers, you can do that now. And serve up Ryan Davis's hamburger, which is still in the game, which is really great.
Yep.
Cloudpunk comes to Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. This is like a cyberpunk delivery game, which I feel like it's been out on PC for quite a while and looks pretty good. So maybe I'll add that to the old psprices.com wishlist. Shantae Risky's Revenge Director's Cut comes out on PC, Switch, and Xbox One. I can't keep these games straight. I don't remember which one this is. Is this the first one? Is this the 10th one? I have no idea. It's one of them. They all seem good.
Still haven't beaten the last one that I'm playing.
Right.
I'm on the last level and I can't do it.
They probably have like 4 more out since then.
Yeah.
NHL 21 comes out on PS4 and Xbox One. And Mario Kart Live Home Circuit comes out on the Switch and the floor of your house. That's the AR actual kart racing around your house game that they showed off a while ago. It's also $100. So fair warning on that one, because it comes with stuff.
Hope you've only got one kid.
Yeah. Well, I think you can race up to 2, but definitely not like 8 or anything. So, make sure you realize that before you start telling your kid about you can race Mario. And disappointing.
Did they? I can't remember. Did the RC cars actually come with their own controllers, or are you controlling them through the Switch?
You control them through the Switch. Yeah.
Yeah. So screw it. You don't need. Who cares? Just buy 8 of Mario and then just build a track around your house.
Buy
and
4
go
Switches and
Eventually, you're gonna upgrade the motors to diesel motors anyway, and
there you go. Let's move on to news stories. Amazon's Crucible has stopped development. Let's track the history of Amazon's Crucible. Was in closed beta for a while, went in open beta, was poorly received. Seemed like the core of the game could have been really solid, but the community had like all this feedback about how they could kind of sand off the rough edges and kind of make it into something really great. So they did the weirdly unprecedented thing and pulled it into closed beta. So they took a step back. The team worked to resolve the issues, realized that they weren't going to be able to, so have stopped working on it. The development team put out a quote, and the end of it is, quote, "And we've loved seeing responses to changes we've made over the last few months, but ultimately we didn't see a healthy, sustainable future ahead of Crucible," end quote. So it's a shame. You hate to see a team just sort of say like, yeah, we tried, but like, man, and none of this was coming together at all. But it's interesting to see, even with Amazon money, either Amazon or the team or whoever wasn't willing to just kind of like keep pumping money into this thing until it was successful. They just kind of looked at it and said like, I don't know if we can compete in this market. Maybe we should just kind of, it didn't catch fire immediately. Maybe we should just kind of give it another shot with something else. Interesting to see that now 2 of 3 of Amazon's games are now completely dead. I think the only one they have left is New World, which is like their MMO that got pushed back to middle of next year. So see what comes out of that. But interesting / kind of a bummer. Wasn't expecting where that one was going to go. Next news story here. Phil Spencer is pissed. Microsoft is going to get xCloud on iOS devices no matter what Apple says. Apparently, you have pissed off the Spencey, so he says, we're going to make a web-based version of xCloud. You'll be able to run that in Safari, pointed glare, and we're going to get Game Pass on iOS devices, whether you want us to or not.
Which I did hear something interesting. It was actually about a month ago, but it was like, do Steam, for the Steam like streaming thing that Apple allows, does Steam have to get the veto on every single game that you can stream through that thing on Steam?
You can't stream to Steam on iOS.
At all?
No. You could when it first launched, and Apple was like, wait a minute, because how Valve got through it eventually is they marketed it as a remote desktop app. And they said, look, we're just connecting them to the computer. If they play games over there, that's not... who am I to say what they're going to do over there? And Apple was like, come on, for real? So they put the kibosh on that. So on the Steam app, on iOS, you can't buy games, and you can't play games. Which is just great. Thanks, Apple. But apparently this is the way that Amazon is going to do Luna on iOS as well, because they did the flip where they're like, it's coming on iOS first, and then Android, sometime down the road when we get to there. And it's like, are you sure you didn't get that backwards? You sure you didn't have that reversed in the press release? Apparently they're doing the same thing where they're going to do a web-based version of it, and it's just going to kind of work that way through your web browser. So good to see that Microsoft has a fiduciary backing when Spencer gets upset about something, which is great. Just like, hey, you can't tell us no, is we're going to figure a way out how to do it because we got the money. So take
and
that.
They also have the tech. When you get right down to it, they've got the tech to be able to do it.
Yeah, Apple doesn't have any sort of... I'm sure Apple has some sort of cloud computing infrastructure that they use internally, but certainly nothing to the point where, like Azure, that's doing as well. But yeah, interesting to see. It has been fun this week to see people interviewing Phil Spencer about it and him just being angry about it. Usually he's fairly politic, but pretty open about stuff and doesn't really mince words, but is tries to keep the peace. And this time he's like throwing up middle fingers where it's like, nope, you can't tell us no. Look at this. I'm forking out $1,000 bills here. Let's get this done. And also, as someone who owns an iPhone, this would be really nice. I would like to use xCloud. That would be really good because it worked really well on my phone during the beta, and it was a good experience. Let's move on to questions here. T-Bomb Rock sends us a question in Discord. With Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers is a much different game. With Marvel's Avengers player base dropping and on PC even below 1,000 players, started thinking about how Game Pass could help a game like this. Take the money from Xbox and put it on Game Pass on PC and Xbox. Then during that time, work on a big overhaul similar to Final Fantasy XIV. My question is, could you see more struggling online or games as a service games that could benefit from Game Pass in this aspect? Can you think of any examples? Could this have saved Evolve? So I want to address Avengers here first because I feel like this isn't attacking T-Bomb or anything. I feel like there's a misunderstanding about Avengers. It's not really a games as a service game. It is first and foremost a single player RPG that you can like co-op for stuff. It has like end game dungeons, but from everybody that's playing it, it sounds like that's kind of not the real draw. It seems like it will eventually get there as more content comes in, but Crystal Dynamics has said like, yeah, we're going to be supporting this for like quite a while. So we're going to put new characters in and we're going to put new missions and stuff. But like, it sounds like they don't super care if you buy it and play through it once and then you're kind of done. Which I think is where you're seeing the like population dropping, is people picking it up, playing through it, and being like, "Yeah, it was really good. Moving on to the next thing."
I think as well, though, like the problem with that is if they're saying they're going to support it for a long time, They have to sell the cosmetics, they have to sell the packs, they have to
Right.
sell the stuff, and the only way they do that is by having it as a service game, which is
Sure.
it has been pushed. It wasn't pushed as a single player game at all. It was pushed as a games as a service game, playing with your friends, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I think I would take umbrage with that, but not in the way that I would want to fight on the show about it. But because I think that Crystal Dynamics, whether or not Square Enix has marketed this incorrectly, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, etc. I feel like there still exists this middle ground between just a single player game and log in for your dailies every day, run the dungeons every week. I feel like there's still this middle ground of every couple of months a big content patch comes out and people go, oh yeah, it's like the No Man's Sky thing. A big patch comes out and people are like, oh, No Man's Sky. Yeah, let me log back into No Man's Sky for a little bit. I feel like you can do that with Avengers, where it's like, oh yeah, I finished that like 6 months ago. I do have that PS5 or like that Series X. Maybe I'll just hop back in. You play for another 10, 15 hours and then kind of put it back down for another 6 months. I feel like you could make that model work for Avengers, but you have to position it like that. And you have to be a little bit more honest about like, boy, that first new character's coming like right at launch, and then people are like looking at their watches being like, yeah, when's that been out for a little bit? When's that happening? So
Yeah.
But I think, Moon, you're right. I think now that I talked myself into it, yeah, Square Enix probably did market this a little. Square Enix, from the first moment they announced this, everyone was like, cool, you're making an Avengers game. What's it about? Square Enix is like, yeah, see you later. It's like, no, what is, and you didn't really know what it was about until 3 months ago, like a month before the game launched.
That's kind of been the weird thing about this game, is it feels like they just kind of dropped it out there to die a little bit.
Yeah.
Everyone who played it was under heavy NDA, couldn't say anything about it besides, yeah, I played a little bit of it.
And people are saying like, no, it's not Destiny.
Yeah, and then everyone's saying that, yeah, what they've shown us is the same thing that you guys have seen, that everyone pretty much has already said isn't that great.
Right.
So it's like they didn't really try with this game for some reason.
Well, and for me too, like, why would I buy it and play it now when in literally 1 month the new consoles are out that's going to play it at a better resolution, a better frame rate, etc., etc.? Why wouldn't I just wait a month? Like, why wouldn't I just wait for a sale here at the end of the year, scoop it up for PS4, get the PS5 patch, and kind of play the better version of it?
Have they said if the new console patches are free, or do you have to pay for that?
I believe that both platforms are free.
Okay.
I think on Sony you can charge for them potentially, but I think Sony's like, hey, you shouldn't. And I think everybody that's looking at the Microsoft side is like, hey man, you can't not charge for smart delivery and then charge for a PS5 patch. Like, EA probably will try to, but nobody else really can.
Yeah.
What do we? And I think, to T-Bomb's question, I don't think Game Pass solves the problem, because I follow Paul Tassi from Forbes on Twitter. I read a lot of his articles. He's been playing a lot of it. It sounds to me like there isn't. Genshin Impact has a better like daily thing, even though you don't get login rewards. You have like daily missions you can do and stuff. So there's a little bit of stuff to do every day if you want to. It doesn't seem like there's really that infrastructure for Avengers, where if it was free, there would be a pull to log in every day, pull to log in every week on reset and play with your friends. It's not, they don't have like the games as a service trapping, or like a battle pass or something. It doesn't seem that stuff. So if the game is free, you could pull somebody along with that. I don't think putting it on Game Pass solves that game's problems.
I was saying, does it even have any add-ons that you can buy for the game yet anyway?
No DLC, but I think you can spend money on cosmetics, right? The costumes and stuff? then you can spend money on that, but there's not even DLC, because they really early on, they're like, no loot boxes, no XP DLC, no, like, level boosts or anything. And I believe they stuck to that, and I think the only purchasable stuff is like, here's another costume for Kamala, here's another Iron Man suit. But they're just purely cosmetic stuff. So, yeah,
Okay.
there's not even like, here's a $10 battle pass or anything.
No, but each individual hero, I believe, does have their own battle pass.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so they have their own like built-in like leveling thing that does something.
Stuff.
Yeah, like I'm interested in Avengers based on what I played in the beta, but like I just said, like until the new consoles are out, I kind of don't care. Like I care about very few games that are coming to PS5 and Series X until the consoles are out, hopefully in my hands in exactly a month. Because why do I care? Like, why am I like Watch Dogs Legion comes out here in a little bit. I have it pre-ordered for PS4 because it's $10 cheaper than the PS5 one. But I'm not gonna play it until I have my PS5 because why would I?
Mhm.
Like, there's just no reason. And I think T-Bomb here says work on a big overhaul similar to Final Fantasy 14. I don't know if it necessarily needs that either, based on what people are saying. Is like, I think it just needs more reasons for people to come back to playing it. If they want to keep it on the possibly games as a service, like roadmap based thing they're doing. His question is, can you see more struggling online or games as a service games that could benefit from Game Pass in this aspect? Destiny 2 is doing great now that's on Game Pass. Like, even though that game was free, now you can just play all of it for free. I rolled my eyes because someone is going to say, well, it's not actually free. I'm so over that argument. But like, I feel like if the game has the games as a service thing, where you have daily logins and weekly resets and grindable stuff, it seems like a really good fit for Game Pass just to get people playing it. But I don't know. It seems to me like I don't know if there's a game that doesn't seem like a good fit for Game Pass.
Yeah.
That's sort of the great thing about Game Pass.
The only games I can think of like that are games that would do perfectly fine without it. Like Warframe is free to play.
Right.
Fortnite is free to play. Like
Genshin Impact doesn't need to go on Game Pass because it's already free. Like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, there's no reason for them to.
I feel like any games as a service game, I'm sorry, but if you're planning on making one, it needs to be free. The only way you're going to get the number of people you need to make it a viable product these days, with so much competition out in the market, is to make it free.
Well, I mean, that's why Destiny 2 went free as soon as they broke away from Activision, is because Destiny 2, the majority of that game is free, besides what's leaving in November. And then they removed loot boxes from that game, so just everything in the real money store, you just buy right out. You like this emote, you buy that specific one, and you're done. I feel like that's the best combo of things, where it's the base level, if not the entire thing, is free, and directly purchasable cosmetic stuff in some sort of real money store. Because everybody wins. You can have everybody play, and then you can have your whales fund the game. So...
go ahead. I think it would help to... I think it might help keep developers, I guess, like, not honest, but keep them on the straight and narrow, where if you release a game on Game Pass and it's utter garbage, people aren't going to pay it, play it or pay for whatever's in it.
Right.
So maybe that'll also help with a lot of the bloat that you get with people just putting crap out, like your Fast and Furious games that you guys love so much.
Love them. Yep. 100 game of the year.
Like if something like that came out on Game Pass and you had played it, it's like, would you have put more money into it, or would you have bought it if you played that on Game Pass
No.
first?
No, but it's like
And-
the perfect rental game where it's like, all right, it was
Yeah.
literally 4 hours long. I'm done with
So
it. Okay.
I think it would kind of help, I guess, push developers in a way to like, hey, you can't. And I'm not saying that like B title games are bad or anything, but like you can't put out this crap game anymore and
Right.
expect us to pay $60 for it.
You can't
or
put out
pay
the
your,
shovelware.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe in the long term that would help with some of that. Which,
Sure.
I don't know. We don't see it as much anymore. We get it every once in a while, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't see a lot of it. I feel like the kids'
No, it's
game
because we
market
don't
is
play
probably
on
still
Steam
bad.
anymore.
Yeah, that's true. T-Bomb also asked, could that have saved Evolve?
No, Evolve was doomed from the get-go because 2K pushed that as an esports game, and
Yeah.
then hardcore sunk money into that thing, and by the time they'd realized it was a flop, they were ready to just give that thing a ghost.
I still feel like Evolve just came out at the wrong time. It couldn't market itself. The asymmetric multiplayer stuff hadn't really hit yet. Like, look at Dead by Daylight just being a huge success, where it's still that 1v4. It's 1v4, right?
Yes.
1v4 asymmetric multiplayer, like that Evolve did. Evolve was 1v4 where you had classes and you were leveling up classes and you were doing, you played your class and had a specialty.
And Evolve was a good game. It genuinely was a good game.
It was.
That was seriously let down by the marketing push for it.
Yep. The marketing just did not know what to do with it. Moon, you're right. They were pushing it as like this hardcore esports thing when they should have pushed it as, hey, it's from the team that made Left 4 Dead. They're making this cool monster hunt thing. And they just, I don't think they knew either how to pivot or couldn't pivot fast enough when it came out. And it just couldn't get traction.
Yeah.
Look at Among Us. Among Us is huge right now. That game came out 2.5 years ago. Like,
Yup.
the weirdest things happen with the best games. And could Evolve have made it? Maybe nowadays, where if you say, like, hey, the Left 4 Dead people are making a Dead by Daylight style game. All right, yeah, cool. Like, we now have the language for that. But
Something else that didn't help Evolve was like it also had like $100 worth of DLC on day one. I mean,
yeah,
do you think you're a Dead or Alive game? Because you're not a Dead or Alive game, dude.
right.
You're
Are you that
Evolve.
train simulator game on Steam? That was a really good point too, because like people are firing up the game and be like, "There's a season pass for $100 worth of skins." Like, what is happening here? Yeah, that game was such a shame. I'm glad that they're making. Oh God, All for Play, All for One. It's the new Left 4 Dead that has the 4 in the title. That
Well, yeah, it's based in the French Revolution. You play the Three Musketeers.
The
speaking
Four Musketeers.
yeah, speaking of, have you seen the benchmarks for Assassin's Creed Unity on the Series X?
No.
Yeah.
It finally hit 60 frames. It's
It
really
was the big
honestly,
takeaway.
Unity
yeah.
is a good game.
Digital Foundry did a video about it where it's like, here's the launch at 20 frames, here's Xbox One X at 30, and here's Series X at 60. And Unity is a good game, and a lot of people are like, LOL, I might play it now. And it's like, yeah, you should, because Unity was pretty good.
It's
Throw
like
it on Game
France.
Pass.
France at the height of its power.
Yeah,
Like both cultural style, like France at that time was incredible. Go visit Notre Dame.
yeah, go climb it. Go
Mhm.
nuts. Yeah. All right, that's our episode for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including our merchandise store link, where you can get Moonpier's brand new t-shirt, along with all /E1 emblems. So hopefully all of us that pre-ordered them gets them relatively close to the launch window. I bought
We
mine
shall
from
see.
Amazon, so who the hell knows?
Mhm.
Now I gotta find a place to put the PS5 because it's so big. It was the size of that man's torso in the video.
Yeah,
the
literally
breakdown.
was the first
Pretty
thing I saw.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
So
to build
good.
a shelf on my wall just to put it on.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week. Bye.
But
Bye.
One of my favorite asides this week is a bunch of people fretting and worrying about the Series X running really hot.
the heat conversation.
Yeah, and one of the engineers from Microsoft is like, yeah, it blows heat out of the vents because that's what they're for. Otherwise, it's fine. It's like, yeah, calm down. It just, the whole top of it is vents.
It's literally what it's designed to do.
Right. It pulls air in the bottom, it shoots air out the top. Like a computer. Weird.
And every other console you've ever had.
Right.
Yeah, like look at how hot your computer gets. Like just
Right.
download one of the free temperature checks where it checks out your sensors and just be amazed at how hot your computer is running right now, just
Right.
idling.
Oh, dude, you can do better than that. You can hit Windows G and open the Windows game bar and choose that option from there.
There you go.
Set your house on fire.
Yeah. All right. Nimp, hit me with your titles.
I've only got 3.
Okay.
Pick the Time Away,
Mm-hmm.
Level 10 Loot Skill, and Salty Rage Inducing.
Okay, Moon.
Merchandise Sure,
I'll have that one checked.
Whole Host of Hades, 1,000 Times Better, My Zone Out Game, Gotta Get Those Blues, Super Vaporizer Combo, and Solitaire Terms.
The only one I have is Merchandise Sure. I feel like we didn't have a lot of really attractive titles this week.
And I figured you two would write that down anyway, so I was like, I'm not even going to bother right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you guys feel strongly about other than that one?
Not really.
I like
Sounds-
Solitaire Terms because it's weird.
Yeah, Solitaire Terms. Kind of fun to say. I feel like it's not as punchy as Merchandise Sure, though.
No. I think that is the punchiest of the lot.
I'm going to circle it. Sounds like we got a winner.
I'm ready, by the way.
I am.
All right. Good stuff.
On top
All right,
of my
starting
game
in.
today.
Yes, starting
It
in.
won't be
3,
when I'm done.
2, 1. This is a... Nope. 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 677 for October 12th, 2020. Merchandise Sure.
Me and Big V gonna go get some clothes, you know?
She sells seashells by the seashore. No, I will not say that faster.
Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with us, chatting with us live. We appreciate it, and we hope we'll see you next